If your feet feel numb, cold, or strangely disconnected, it may not be age. It may be your dinner. Every night, Harold sat down and rubbed his feet trying to wake them up. He thought it was just getting older, but something felt off. He wasn't diabetic. His blood pressure was under control. But the tingling, the cold patches, the strange heaviness in his feet, it only got worse. Sound familiar? If you're over 60 and you feel like your feet are falling asleep, even when you're wide awake, you're not alone. Millions of older men across the US quietly struggle with the same thing. They just don't talk about it. Here's what no one tells you. It might not be your age. It might be what's on your plate. Let's start with the one food you've been told is healthy all your life, but could actually be making things worse. Tomatoes. Bright, juicy, full of antioxidants, everything the commercials say you should be eating, especially for your heart, right? Well, maybe not your feet. Harold, a 68-year-old retired mechanic from Kansas City, thought he was doing everything right. Grilled chicken, a garden salad with a generous helping of cherry tomatoes, a little marinara with whole wheat pasta twice a week, fresh salsa on Sundays during the game. But then came the foot tingles, the cold patches, the dead weight feeling walking up the stairs. He started worrying it might be his circulation, or worse, nerve damage. Turns out, the tomatoes might have been part of the problem. Here's why. Tomatoes belong to a group of plants called nightshades, which also includes eggplant, bell peppers, and white potatoes. They contain natural compounds called alkaloids, especially one called solanine. Now, solanine isn't dangerous in small doses, but in people who are sensitive, especially as they age, these compounds can quietly trigger inflammation in the joints and nerves. And when inflammation builds in the tiny blood vessels feeding your feet, that's when the weird stuff starts. The numbness, the pins and needles, the "my feet feel like foam" sensation. A peer-reviewed study in Pharmacology linked nightshades to increased inflammatory markers, especially in people with autoimmune issues, diabetes, or chronic nerve stress. So here's the kicker. You don't need to be allergic to tomatoes for them to cause trouble. You just need to be over 60 with slowing circulation and a nervous system that's been under quiet stress for decades. And if you're eating nightshades every single day, like tomatoes in pasta sauce, potatoes in soup, or bell peppers in your omelet, your body might be quietly asking for a break. The good news? You don't have to give them up forever. Try this. Take a 14-day break from nightshades, especially raw tomatoes, sauces, and potatoes, and pay attention to your feet. Many men report less tingling, improved balance, even better sleep. You can also cook your tomatoes instead of eating them raw. That breaks down some of the alkaloids and makes them gentler on your nerves, because sometimes it's not what you take out, it's how you prepare it. And now that you know about tomatoes, wait until you hear about the next one. It's green, it's leafy, and if you've been adding it to your smoothies, it might be sending your nerves into silent overdrive. Let's talk about spinach. Yep, that's spinach. The one we were all told makes you strong, healthy, and full of iron. Harold, the same guy from Kansas City, had made a habit of eating it raw. He'd toss it in a blender each morning with some banana and almond milk. Sometimes lunch was a spinach salad. Dinner, a little sautéed spinach with garlic and olive oil. He figured he was doing everything right. Low cholesterol, low sugar, high fiber. But the strange foot sensations didn't stop. In fact, they got worse. Here's the part that shocked him and might surprise you too. Spinach is packed with oxalates. These are naturally occurring compounds found in some vegetables. They're not bad per se, but when eaten in high amounts, oxalates bind to calcium in your body, and that's where the trouble begins. Calcium is essential for nerve function. When oxalates start hoarding it and blocking absorption, It messes with how your nerves fire, especially in your extremities. Still doesn't sound serious? Think again. Those oxalates can crystallize. They can lodge in soft tissue, irritate your kidneys, and cause silent inflammation in the nerves. That tingly sensation in your toes, the heavy, wrapped in cotton feeling in your feet, the slight pins and needles when you lie down at night, all of that could be your nervous system quietly reacting not to age, but to something on your plate. And spinach isn't alone. Other leafy greens like beet greens and Swiss chard are also high in oxalates. They're often marketed as superfoods, but they can quietly overload your system if you're not careful, especially after 60, when your body doesn't detox as efficiently. A 2019 study in clinical nutrition research showed that high oxalate diets worsen symptoms of peripheral neuropathy in people with metabolic issues, kidney strain, or diabetes, 3 conditions common in older men. So what should you do? Give up greens completely? Not at all. It's not about fear. It's about smarter swaps. Here are 3 things Harold did, and you can too. Cook your greens. Boiling or steaming spinach cuts oxalates by up to 50%. Cooking makes nutrients more bioavailable and easier on your nerves. Rotate your greens. Try arugula, romaine, or baby kale. They're lower in oxalates and gentler on your system. Hydrate. Water helps flush out excess oxalates. Dehydrated nerves are stressed nerves. Within just 2 weeks of switching up his greens and cooking them instead of blending raw, Harold noticed something. The numbness faded, the pins and needles eased up. He could feel his toes again, even in the morning. Sometimes we don't need more spinach. We need more strategy. And now that you've seen how healthy greens can sometimes overload your nerves, wait until you hear what's next. It's not green, it's not raw, and it might be the most innocent-looking vegetable in your kitchen, but also the one silently draining your circulation and feeding nerve dysfunction every single day. Let's talk about potatoes. They're in your pantry, on your plate, maybe even in your favorite comfort food. I'm talking about white potatoes. Baked, mashed, roasted, or fried, they're a staple of the American dinner table. They're cheap, filling, familiar, and for many men over 60, they're also quietly making nerve problems worse. Let's go back to Harold for a moment. He didn't eat junk food. He skipped the donuts, watched his sugar, and even walked a mile a day. But those potatoes, they were part of his routine, a side dish with dinner almost every night. Mashed potatoes with meatloaf, hash browns on the weekend, baked potatoes on football Sundays, until one night he noticed something. His feet felt like lead after dinner, cold, tingling, heavy. It wasn't always that way, but it was becoming more frequent. Here's what Harold didn't know. White potatoes are a high glycemic food. That means the moment you eat them, they flood your bloodstream with sugar. Now, if you're 25 and running marathons, your body handles that just fine. But when you're 60 plus, your insulin response slows down. Your blood sugar stays elevated longer, and that triggers something called glycemic stress. This stress causes inflammation in blood vessels, sluggish circulation, oxygen loss to your nerves, and that's when the misfires begin. The phantom socks feeling, the burning in your soles, or that numb, disconnected sensation when you wake up. Worse still, white potatoes are also part of the nightshade family, just like tomatoes and peppers, which means they bring inflammatory alkaloids to the table on top of the blood sugar spikes. That's a double whammy for your nerves. One study published in Diabetes and Metabolism Journal found that high glycemic foods like potatoes increase the risk of peripheral nerve dysfunction even in non-diabetics, especially those over 60. So no, you don't need to be diabetic to feel the effects. You just need repeated blood sugar spikes, and potatoes do that fast. But here's the good news. You don't have to give up comfort food, just upgrade it. Swap white potatoes for sweet potatoes. They're rich in fiber, lower on the glycemic index, and packed with beta-carotene, which actually supports nerve healing. Try mashed cauliflower. With a little garlic and olive oil, it's creamy, savory, and doesn't spike your blood sugar. Go half and half. Mix sweet potatoes or cauliflower with a smaller portion of white potatoes. You still get the flavor, with less glycemic impact. Harold made one simple switch: sweet potatoes instead of mashed russets, and within 2 weeks, he stopped feeling like he was walking on bricks. Remember, it's not just what you eat, it's what it does after you eat it. Your food might taste fine, but if your feet are numb afterward, your body is sending a message. And now that we've covered tomatoes, spinach, and white potatoes, what comes next is just as important, because cutting out the wrong foods is only half the equation. The other half, feeding your nerves the right stuff, the nutrients that help them heal, grow, and reconnect with your brain. Let's talk about that next. By now, you know what not to eat. Tomatoes, raw spinach, white potatoes. They might be triggering more than just gas or bloating. They might be quietly attacking your nerves. But here's the better question. What should you eat instead? What foods actually help your nerves heal? Let's go back to Harold. After cutting nightshades and high oxalate greens for 2 weeks, he started to notice less tingling in his feet. But it wasn't just about subtraction. He also started adding the right foods, and that's when things really changed. His balance improved. He felt connected to his body again. Even his energy picked up. So what was he eating? 1. Beets, the blood flow booster. Beets are nature's circulation enhancers. They're packed with natural nitrates, which turn into nitric oxide in your body. That opens up your blood vessels, especially in your legs and feet, allowing more oxygen to reach your nerves. A study in nutrition research found that beet juice improved walking ability and reduced nerve discomfort in older adults within just 2 weeks. Add roasted beets to a salad, try a beet smoothie with lemon, or drink beetroot powder in water once a day. 2. Omega-3s, the nerve repair crew. Wild salmon, sardines, walnuts, chia seeds, flaxseed oil. These foods are loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, which do 2 things your nerves desperately need: calm chronic inflammation, help rebuild the myelin sheath, the protective layer around your nerves. If your nerves are misfiring, omega-3s are like the electrician who comes in and rewires the whole system. Harold started adding a tablespoon of flaxseed to his breakfast and swapped red meat for salmon twice a week. His circulation improved. His sleep deeper. His foot sensations lessened. 3. Magnesium, the muscle relaxer your nerves crave. Magnesium helps your nerves stay calm and improves circulation. It also supports healthy blood sugar. Key if you're worried about nerve stress. You'll find it in avocados, pumpkin seeds, almonds, cooked spinach. Yep, once it's low oxalate. Magnesium is also available in low-dose supplements, but food sources are gentler and more effective over time. 4. Vitamin B12, the forgotten lifeline. This one is huge. Vitamin B12 is essential for nerve regeneration, and as you age, your body gets worse at absorbing it even if you're eating well. Low B12 can lead to numbness, muscle weakness, brain fog, even balance issues. Harold had no idea his levels were low until his doctor tested him. He started taking a simple daily B12 supplement, and within 3 weeks, it was like someone flipped a switch. Animal products like eggs, poultry, and fish are good sources, but most men over 60 benefit from an added supplement, even a chewable or spray. 5. Hydration, the silent nerve protector. Dehydration makes blood thicker, circulation slows, and your nerves, they suffer. Even mild dehydration can worsen numbness, tingling, and that weird, my foot's asleep feeling. So instead of soda or another cup of coffee, reach for cucumber water, warm lemon water, herbal teas like ginger or turmeric. Hydration doesn't just help your nerves, it helps everything around them function better too. Now, here's the truth. You don't need a miracle drug. You need consistency. One food swap, 1 cup of water, 1 B12 tablet. When done daily, they start to rebuild the bridge between your brain and your feet. So don't give up. You are not too old. Your nerves are not too far gone. And your next chapter doesn't have to include numbness, cold toes, or fear. But before we close, there's one last thing you need to know. Because even if your diet is perfect, there's one more hidden danger that could be keeping your nerves from healing. Let's talk about it next. And it has nothing to do with food. Let's say you've cut the nightshades, you're cooking your greens, you've swapped the potatoes, upped your omega-3s, added B12, and started hydrating like a pro. But your feet, still numb, still cold, still wrapped in that strange, invisible fog. Harold was there too. After all the right changes, his nerves had improved, but they hadn't fully come back to life. Not until he made one final discovery. It wasn't about what he was eating anymore. It was about what he wasn't doing. He was sitting, a lot, watching television, reading the paper, scrolling on his tablet. Even his walks were becoming less frequent. Here's the truth most people don't talk about. Prolonged sitting is one of the fastest ways to cut off circulation to your feet and suffocate your nerves. You might not feel it right away, but every hour you sit without movement, your blood vessels narrow, your muscles stiffen, your oxygen delivery slows, your nerves start to choke, and that creeping numbness, that's your body whispering, "Move me." A 2022 study in the Journal of Geriatric Neurology found that seniors who sat more than 6 hours a day had a 42% higher chance of developing peripheral neuropathy, even if their diet was clean and they weren't diabetic. Think about that. Even if you eat perfectly, sitting too long can keep your nerves from recovering. Why? Because nerves rely on movement. Movement pumps fresh blood through the small vessels in your feet. It wakes up the nervous system and tells it, "Hey, we're still here." So, what did Harold do? He started small. 5-minute foot stretches every morning before coffee, marching in place during commercial breaks, ankle rolls while sitting, standing up once every 30 minutes, even just to refill his water. Simple stuff, nothing fancy. But within 2 weeks, he noticed something astonishing. His balance improved. His brick feet started to feel lighter. The cold, it faded. Movement was the missing piece. And here's the part that could change everything for you. In the next video, we'll show you a 5-minute nerve activation routine you can do right at home, even if you have stiff joints or limited mobility. No gym, no equipment, just real movements that reconnect your brain to your feet and wake up the nerves that have gone quiet. Because numbness isn't just a condition, it's a message. And now that you know what to eat and what to avoid, your next step is to move. So don't go anywhere. Your body isn't broken, it's waiting. Let's bring it back to life one step at a time.